Seeing none, the machine is open to vote. Motion passes. Item number 5, consider any amendments to the agenda. We have 2, a resolution authorizing the parish president to sign contract with Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals for WIC program. And B, ratify condemnation order of derelict structures located at 959 Solomon Street, Port Allen, Louisiana, 70767. And we can do these together. And this
Yes.
has to be a unanimous vote to amend the agenda. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda? I have a motion by Mr. Gordon, seconded by Mr. Bergeron. Is there any discussion on the amended agenda? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote. Motion passes. Item number 6, Parish President's Report. Mr. Berthelot?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, council members, and I appreciate your patience on that fire board meeting. I really didn't want to do that to y'all at the very first meeting, but stuff happens sometimes, so we get indoctrinated pretty quick. I met with Chad Robeek and another engineer from the state. His name is Brian, but I can't remember his last name. And they came talk to me and was talking about the existing intercoastal overpass. And of course, you know, on the existing intercoastal bridge, they plan on building 2 3-lane bridges with 2 10-foot shoulders. So we'll have like 3 12-foot center lanes and 2 10-foot shoulders, so we're gonna have a 56-foot wide bridge in each direction. So they're gonna let that in July of this year, and they're gonna start building the one between the railroad bridge and the southbound bridge. And so that should be probably 2.5 years to complete it. Construction probably start in November, by the time they award the contract and they get the submittals and everything. And so that is moving forward, you know, and so just want to let you know on that. Also, they plan to overlay LA1 South. That's from I think somewhere around Sun Plus Parkway, because I don't know how close they're coming to the intercoastal bridge with the bridge construction, and they're going all the way to Highway 75, which is the Bellevue and Platinum. So that's going to start, that's going to be let in April of this year. And so it should be under construction July, September, sometime this year. So those are 2 projects that we've been, you know, kind of consult with the state and trying to get those things done. And getting back to the intercoastal bridge, you know, what they're going to do is they're going to take the, you know, when you come over the bridge with 3 lanes, it'd be like a 6-lane highway. They're going to probably bring that 6 lanes probably as far as Sun Plus Parkway. And he didn't have a copy of the plans that he showed me, but they're going to pretty much delete that road where you come over the overpass and you go around to go to North Line Road. You're going to have to go down to Bowyer Lane. They're going to take out the red light at Walmart. You can make one of those J turns, and they have to get over the service road or you have to come back to get to North Line Road. So, and they can do the same on American Way. American Way is the red light's going to go. You know, I told them there'd be some concern, and I asked them if they're going to have a public hearing. He said no, they got to go, and I don't know, but I think we can have some issues on American Way. You know, I kind of warned about that, and I'll probably talk to him a little bit more about that. But you know, people in Riverside, I think the J-turn might be right there around Riverside to come back. So if you leave an American Way, you're gonna have to turn south, go make a U-turn and come back. And I talked to him about my concern about 4 o'clock in the evening, if you're trying to go to Port Allen off American Way, you know, who's gonna let you in line right there, you know? So they may put some, what they call some red lights that work the J-turns, you know, so, but it won't be a light, and they'll close the intersection at American Way. So that's what they have on the books, and so we just have to kind of see how that's gonna work, but just let you know. Of course, we got Rosedale Road from LA1 to far as we can go with $500,000, which we think we can get at least to the bridge on Rosedale Road, right here in Port Allen. So that's in the works. And the other thing I had, you know, like I just want to make sure that all they know that y'all welcome to come in my office or call me or see me anytime. You know, I have an open door policy and you know, welcome. And I was talking to Mr. Walker today. He came to my office to visit me. And we got some parish facilities that we are responsible for, like the jail, the courthouses, the 911. A lot of those facilities that you got to make decisions on from time to time. So if you ever want to visit those things, whether it's a group to go together or just one or two you want to go, we'd be more than glad to take you. We could go look at the jail and all the facilities that we maintain over there, and whatever you want to see. You know, we welcome y'all to just holler if you want to go look at it. And the other thing is that I know we got some appointments to some boards later on tonight, but I do have 2 openings on the Transportation Authority position. West Baton Rouge Parish has a toll authority that we've been working on for the LA 1415 connector. And so, you know, gonna have to appoint 2 people. So I'll probably have a meeting sometime in January. So if I get 2 names of people interested in serving on that committee, that's the LA 1415 connector. And I'm on it. The Secretary of DOTD and his appointment is on it. And then I think it's Jason and was Gary and Barry. And so I need 2 more people to serve on that. We probably have a meeting, well, we're already in late January, so probably be sometime next month. So if y'all just shoot me a couple of names, we'll put them on and we'll call y'all. It's probably like a 5-minute meeting, you know, that we have to do annually to keep our organization up to date. And we're also working on that 415 thing. Kevin and I have been working on it a good bit lately, and we're going to meet Monday with what we call the CARB-D, which is the Capitol Area Road Bridge District, talking about the new Mississippi River Bridge on the south end. We got a meeting Monday at the state capitol, and of course, I serve on that committee, and so I'll let you know what happens from there. But I will see Secretary Wilson probably at that meeting, or either his assistant, Eric Calavoda, and so I'm gonna try to give me an update on the LA1 connected, you know, see where that's at, and I'll report back to you whenever I can. That's pretty much all I have, but, you know, like, if you got any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay, Mr. Badger?
The north side of the intercoastal, any current plans for the roads? You explained
Oh,
about the
no.
south side.
Now, they did some patching, you know, but it's not on their radar that I'm aware of as yet.
I'm talking about the infrastructure when the new bridge comes in. Any plans for circles or that you know of? Roundabouts?
I don't know. I hadn't seen a lot of those plans, but we did talk about, you know, there's quite a few utility issues and stuff when they're crossing. They can be crossing over with that Ernest Wilson Road that goes underneath the overpass, and they're gonna have to reroute that some kind of way, a little bit, in the Mahaffey Road. But I don't know if they came into LA1, but they're gonna have to do some temporary right-of-ways. So I would have to say they probably gonna have to take some of them oak trees down, or some of those trees that we got up in there, to make temporary lanes, if nothing else. And it is hard for me to imagine how they're gonna come, because once they get this bridge built in about 2.5 years, they're gonna tear the other 2 bridges out. And then they'll rebuild those, you know, and so we're looking at about a 5-year project. But what's happening, when you're gonna cross the new bridge, the one that's closest to the railroad track, and then the exit ramp is over here to get on the I-10 bridge, they plan on just detouring you over like that, and I just think it's gonna be awfully, you know, some almost 90-degree turns, you know, so. And so we talked about that, but he didn't have a set of plans to show me exactly what they, you know, the detour plans and the demolition plans and stuff, you know, what we're gonna do, you know, so. But if I hear something, I'll be glad to share it with you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Just press done, Mr. Badger?
Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Denson?
Mr. Berthelot, I think we talked about it a little bit in the past, but I've got some people asking about it. Rosedale Road, I think we were gonna do something on Rosedale Road. You got any updates on that, or when we could do it?
You talking about what I just talked about, the Rosedale Road? that we can overlay from LA1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When is that gonna happen? Do you have
that is probably gonna happen this year.
Okay.
We had to pay for the engineering on it, and we had to put some matching money up. And I fussed with the state, and we just didn't come to agreement. Let me tell you what happened. We had applied for a grant, and it took like 3 years by the time we actually got the money. And the grant was like on the 415 extension, like going toward the Intercoastal Canal where Love's truck stop is,
Yeah.
that little turn right there. From there to the canal is our road. And
Right.
so we had applied because that highway was eligible for federal funds. So we applied for some funds. Kevin did all the groundwork. He may have left. But but we couldn't wait. And so we would, every year we put a little money in the budget. We changed a few pounds, and eventually we changed them all. Then finally the grant came. And so we was gonna have to pay the match. It was about $400-something thousand. We had to put about $100,000 match money. So it's about a $500,000 project that we got. Well, since we did the work, because we couldn't wait for the state, they came to us and say, look, unless you got another project, we're gonna take this money and DOT is gonna determine where to put it. He said, unless you put it on a road within your parish. And so we selected the Rosedale Road.
that section?
And so, but I had to pay the match, and so I argued with the state, like why. I didn't mind putting the match up when it was road that I was gonna maintain, and they was gonna give me their money. And so why should I have to put up the match money on your road? Because
Right.
if I don't do anything, you eventually gotta do it anyway. Well, they say, yeah, but we may not get to it for 3 or 4 more years. And so we went ahead and agreed to do it, and they said they would get back with me when the budget, the new budget comes out, and of course after the election and everything, and see, and the governor may put more money in transportation, and they may not need us to do the match, but right now it's in the budget, and we committed to the match to keep it going.
Thank you. Mr. Klein, Peter?
Mr. Berthelot, I know since we're talking about road overlays and everything, it's not my district, but I've gotten a lot of complaints about that overlay on 190, just past 415, the merge on. Watched a video of it, and it looks bad. Did you see it, Kurt? So how can we hold the state accountable to that?
Well, the state contracted that project out, so they should go back and make whoever didn't do the job correctly. I didn't know that, and that's on the 415 before you get to 190?
When you, 415, you take 190, and as you're getting on, you can see on the video on the Frustrated Commuters page.
I don't get that.
It's
You don't want to.
it's bad.
Yeah,
I watched the video, and it's really bad. I'll have to ride out there.
So
and
that's
see.
actually on 190 heading
Yes,
west?
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Okay.
West.
I think it's,
Heading west.
I think it's west, right?
west.
Yeah, it's west.
I can't imagine that that's their final solution.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
I can soon that out.
I'll make a phone call tomorrow and try to find out what the deal is, and, yeah, the state's usually pretty good about when they got a contractor, they usually, inspect them pretty quick. In fact, they made the contract in Addison, where they did the road transfer on Main Street in Addison, they made that contract go back and redo that whole road, so,
Whole thing.
they're usually pretty good at doing, on their, inspections.
Mr. Crowe?
On that section of road y'all talking about, those patches they made are temporary patches. What they do is they come in and they mill the entire road with the Rodak machine, mill it down, but they have to patch the sub, because it's patches, those holes were so deep, they had to patch them, so when they mill, they get a good even milling to lay their asphalt on top of it. So that's just temporary. That's
Yeah,
just-
I did see where it had grind asphalt,
Yeah,
off the concrete.
Yeah, they're gonna come back and, they have milled that out to get the bad spots out of the road, and then they're gonna come and mill the whole entire thing. That way, when they do their complete overlay, it'll be a good, smooth road.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Crowe.
good deal.
Anybody else?
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Berthelot. Item number 7, public comments. Anybody from the public right now want to be heard? Come to the mic.
Hello, I'm back here again and welcome all our new members. It's nice to see there's a changing of the guard. I have several things that I wanted to share that, that I have looked into. One is that there has been an update on Thermodyne. I don't know if y'all have kept up with it, that we were very concerned here in West Baton Rouge Parish. And there was a court issue. So there has been an update that the court ruled that DEQ must force Thermodyne to identify all pollutants headed for the intracoastal waterways. The company, y'all know, is in Port Allen, and it must identify the pollutants it wants to dump into the intracoastal waterway in West Baton Rouge Parish. A state appeals court ruled. A unanimous 3-judge panel of the Louisiana First Circuit Court of Appeals upheld a lower court of appeals ruling that Thermodyne must provide a full listing. This is a victory. This is a victory lap for all of us who have been very, very concerned about the pollutants that were going to be spewed into the air, that was going to go into our waterways, that was going to be stored on site. So a lot of people in this community have prayed for this. So this is a victory of common sense. Of pollutants discharged into the waterway that reaches the Atchafalaya Basin and Lake, I'm not sure how you say that, Palong? Palong, okay. So DEQ never issued Thermodyne any waiver, so that was determined. So it wasn't hearsay, it wasn't something that was made up. It was determined that they looked at all the facts, and so we have a success story there. Another thing that I had looked at prior was I spoke to the Lafayette parish president, and I asked him some questions, and they are live streamed. All of their meetings are live streamed, and I asked him, I said, can you explain to me why you decided to go live? And he says, well, before the public came to us and asked us that's what they wanted, we decided as a body that it would be good for the community. It would show transparency. It would get the community involved in what the parish is doing. It means that people don't have to come back after the fact because, as all of you know, this is an aging community. You know, people aren't going to be quick on their feet. But there are several things that have really concerned people in this community. And you know, it was felt that with the digital age, there really should not be a problem. I got all of the information. It's really a very easy process. I have all of the information. I don't have to go through it now, but you go through a channel, and so it's just an easy setup. So who would I talk to about that? That it was presented, is it presented to this body and they decide?
That would be our IT department, basically.
Your IT department, yes.
Because we have actually, just to let you know, we have looked into that.
Okay,
And currently, Lafayette is actually ahead of us, because Lafayette has been videoing their meetings for quite a few years now. They just recently did start streaming their meetings, okay?
right,
We just started videoing our meetings. We're not to the streaming process yet, because we have to put some hardcore networking in place before we could start to stream. But that is where our initial idea is to be.
okay,
It's
well,
it's because of a lot of the security issues and things like that our system actually has. And-
Okay.
And it's above my head, it's above the different pay grade than what I am, but that's with our IT department.
right. Okay, well, I did call, they said that you would contact our, I don't know if the parish works with Cox or who they work with, okay. Good, because Lafayette does also. And so I contacted them, and they said it is an extremely easy fix, and that they know exactly
Yeah,
what they did with
yes,
Lafayette.
On their end, yes,
And-
it
and-
is.
and,
On their end, it is an easy fix. On our end, to get the streaming process to happen, because as you stream, it pulls so much of your megabytes, kilobytes, whatever.
Your data.
Yeah, we have to get to the point where we can do that, and we have not We're not quite to that point yet. We
Is
just
it a
started
monetary
videoing.
question? Is it something we can afford or can't afford? I mean, what would be the holdup or the,
It's-
Well,
it's- Go ahead. It's something we have to put into the budget and amend into the
Yeah,
budget
we-
anyway,
we've
to
recently
be
just
able
did
to.
this
have we
building,
looked
so-
at what it would cost through the budget, or have we talked to
But
Cox
like
or?
Ms. Michelle said, we just started videoing our meetings.
Right, right,
I mean,
yeah.
not
We're,
even
we're trying to take it a few steps at a
full
time
year,
because
I
it
don't
is so expensive. Anything, just getting these screens in front of us. It's so expensive doing this room that we're trying to take it a little step at a time, and that's where we're gonna get. I mean, we were on cassette tapes as of 3
Right.
years ago, 4 years ago, so we've come a long way, and we're getting there.
Okay,
So it's something we're definitely looking at.
Yes.
okay. Well, I guess I'm just getting mixed messages because he said it wasn't expensive. and-
Well,
and it-
Lafayette, keep in
it's
mind
irrelevant.
now, Lafayette and West Baton Rouge, you know, it's.
Right.
And depending on what system they had, you know, and what their network was at the time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it makes a big difference on where your IT is.
Okay. Well, I guess that's something you need to look into, or you are looking into.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's good. Let's see. Oh, I have some mail-outs. There was an article on the, just the other day, and it's, I don't have a lot of them, but maybe y'all could share them. It says, U.S. drinking water widely contaminated with what's called forever chemicals. Have any of you heard of what's called forever chemicals? It's an environmental watchdog claims or has made a report, and they said that the 3 cities, the findings have been, New Orleans is one of them. And one is in Meridian, Mississippi, Washington State, and there's another one, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Okay, so what I'd like to do is, if y'all can pass these around, y'all need to look at it. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because it mentioned Louisiana. It mentioned Mississippi. It mentioned that our waterways are being polluted. There has also been another article about 13 chemical plants that are going to be fined because of, not the DEQ, but because of EPA has found that DEQ has been negligent in doing their work. So I would like to give these to you and let y'all.
Jason, you got something on that?
I think you mentioned drinking water, just so our council knows, typically when you get contamination in drinking water that they're referring to there, it's either groundwater or surface water wells. Ours are deep water wells, so it's kind of not really applicable to that.
Well, it's only not applicable until it is applicable, and that's the thing.
I said to drinking water.
Right, to drinking water, and I understand that because I have fought this for many, many years, but nonetheless, I did want y'all to have that, and I did want you to look at it. Also, I do appreciate that we do get this Vision West, and I appreciate that y'all do let the community know, you know, what's going on in the community, and I know that you've worked with the governor about different things, and several people have asked us if, you know, we read that, and I said, well, of course we do, we get it, and so every household in West Baton Rouge gets that, well, that's good, that's good. And then, also, I'm working with, some students that are environmental students at the university, and they are going to work up a PowerPoint of what chemical plants are in Louisiana. Now, these are students from Tulane University, some of their top students, in alignment with LSU. They're going to do a PowerPoint of how many chemical plants we have in our area, what it has cost for these plants to operate, and the amount of money that is being lost through the taxation or lack of taxation that could be funded back into the community, that the communities are losing. I was very impressed with what I heard. So as soon as they finish I would like to have them come and present it to our council and let y'all hear what these students with very highly recommended, and I just think it's due that y'all know as much as possible so that you can make the decisions for our parish and our community. That will help us, and that is it. Thank you, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 8, ratification of directors. Peter, you want to take this, or Jason?
Y'all wanna do them all at once?
Can we?
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, we can do however y'all want.
If we can do them all at once, yeah. If everybody's good with that.
I'm okay.
yeah.
Keep the director, we'll do the finance separate.
Let me tell you, this is in our charter, and, you know, I served 2 terms on the council before I was elected parish president, and we have never done this. Not once, other than when we got a new appointment coming in. But when, Guy Comey was here the other day, and he was reading the charter paragraph by paragraph, and, you know, and he said, you gotta do this every year, or not every year, but every new term. And so, before that, I didn't know we had to do that, but basically, it calls for ratification of the directors, which, Department of Finance is Philip Burgon, Department of Tax and Revenue and Taxation is Melanie David, she's here tonight. Also, Director of Public Works, Kevin Durbin, Director of Utilities is Pam Cowan, and Department of Park and Recreation is Anatole Vincent. I have some other appointments, these are the ones that's listed in the charter, that's why I only brought these, you know, because the others have other circumstances with it. So I ask for ratification for those guys.
All right, so we're gonna do them all together. Do we have got a motion by Mr. Crowe, seconded by Densto. Is there any discussion with the council? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 9, Annual Department of Revenue and Taxation Delinquent Sales Tax Report. Miss Melanie.
Good afternoon, and welcome, new council members. I was a little late with the report. I put it on y'all's chair. It was past 5:30, and I apologize for not getting here before the first meeting. I am just required to present this to you, for y'all to read and go over. I also attached a card, so for anyone who wants to come to my office and actually go through this and actually explain the entire process, because it's a good possibility you will hear complaints about our process. But it's the same process. We follow state statute, and we've been doing it for, you know, since before Philip was in our office. So it's been a while. Also, in there, I attached, it's a hard copy that I think Michelle emails these every time Michelle gets them. I think she sends them to you. There's a lot of information on this report, and if you have any questions, or if it appears that it looks like something, it's constantly changing. I'm constantly redoing like the different classifications. But to actually really, if you really want to understand this, please come see me and talk to me, or call me, because it's a lot of details to go into in a meeting. I think you get a better understanding and be able to ask more questions about this and how the entire sales tax system works. Because we collect sales tax, occupational license, occupancy tax for the parish. So any questions, please come see me, give me a call. Do you have any questions right now?
I do.
Mr. Kershaw.
Michelle, on your schedule of delinquent taxes, the very first category says sales tax categories, estimated assessments. I want to ask you about the over 90 days.
Okay.
That's 167,000, and in your probable collection, you're saying 15%.
Okay.
So if I'm reading that right, that means we're going to write off $140-something thousand, or?
Okay, it's important to understand what the assessment process is. Let's say you are registered in West Baton Rouge Parish, and we've been having a lot of businesses register recently because of the Wayfair decision. So I'll have a business in Michigan register that sells ink pens, and they're registered in West Baton Rouge Parish. If they request to be a monthly filer and they don't file their return, our system automatically generates them a $500 bill. The assessment process is kind of complicated, and we can go into it in here if y'all would like, or if it's something you would like to. It's all-
Okay,
it's-
let me see if I can read. So are we at risk for over $100-something thousand in that one category?
I would say no. Most of these assessments are people that, I won't say most of them. A lot of these assessments come from people registering and checking the box monthly and not realizing that they are obligated to file a return every month. And if they don't, our system generates, the minimum bill is $500. So it's called an estimated assessment. The point of an estimated assessment is to say, hey, I received the delinquent notice, I didn't respond. Now I'm seeing what looks like a $500 bill. I need to call these people and get this straightened out. And by law, by statute, if they don't respond, and you can find these people, I mean, because again, it could be somebody selling ink pens out of somebody's house in it could be Canada. You're not going to find these people. It's not worth the cost of hiring an attorney to try and find somebody who may have sold one ink pen in West Baton Rouge Parish.
So really, what I'm thinking, I'm hearing you say is the 167,000 might not be a good number.
It's the number that is on our system, but is it actually due? No.
Okay, so it's not a correct number. I know it's the number on your system, but if it's not gonna happen, then it's not gonna happen.
Yes, I don't think it's 167,000 of tax that was actually collected in West Baton Rouge Parish that people are refusing to pay.
Okay,
And that's the assessment thing. All of those numbers are estimated assessments. You will probably be getting those, you get phone calls on those, the council and everyone here probably. Because the sales tax office sent me 500.
okay.
So no, it's not actual tax collected and not remitted. That falls under a different category.
Okay, gotcha.
Clear as mud, I know, right? And very exciting, sorry. Any other
Anybody else got
questions?
any questions, Ms. Melody? Thank you, ma'am.
So then again, I encourage you to come in our office and explain to you and show you the law that this is all based off of.
Item number 10, approve annual sales tax percentage adjustments. Philip?
Well, thank y'all for ratifying the council. Yeah. What I did was I gave y'all a copy. You have two copies, they're stapled together. One says 2018 and one says 2019. So you can see what the council did last year in January. And I'm gonna give you a little history lesson on this because y'all, this is a new council, so every meeting there's gonna be something new to you that I present. So we have two sales tax in this parish that we divide with all the municipalities based on population. One of them that was done in 1965 is based off of the 10-year census, so it automatically gets adjusted every 10 years. You have to take no action on that. This one here was the second one, which was done in 84. It is based off of, back then, they based it off of Louisiana Tech doing surveys of the towns to find out their data and adjusting, and it was based to be adjusted off of that number. Louisiana Tech stopped doing it about 5 or 6 years ago. We took it over. LSU gives us some numbers. They started doing it, but after we looked at it and we thought about it, with Louisiana Tech and my biggest complaint with both of them doing it, they never asked us for our numbers. So it was like they was saying that the parish in the unincorporated areas never grew. We stayed the same. So they took that number, and they would subtract all their numbers, and so our numbers would go down on an annual basis. So by having no one officially to do it until LSU took it over, I got with the municipalities, and we all agreed with the council that I would do it based off of building permit information, and I use a 2.5 per household number on it. And so that's how we adjust this one every year. And it's a little more equitable because we track every building permit in the parish, because they all come through our office. So Kevin gives me a report every month, and I track all of them to figure out which ones go where. In 2018, if you want to compare them, so the parish's portion of that one tax back in 2010 was 52.24%. You'll see after my adjustments this year, it's going to go down to 49.27, where last year it was at 49.7. So we're still dropping a little bit. That Addis growth has kind of caught the other cities and us a little bit. Addis is getting pretty full, so in the next 2 years, I would say this is all going to stop, and we may see some numbers going the other way somewhere else. But it is where it is right now, and we can't really do anything about it because we don't control what goes on in the city limits. They can build as many houses as they want. We can't tell them to stop. I mean, that's just how it is. So what I'm asking you to do tonight is to accept these numbers, and we'll turn this over to the sales tax office, and they'll start distributing the district tax based off of this.
Thank you, Philip. Anybody got any questions? Mr. Crowe?
My question is, what do we do to stop the parish's percentage from dropping? I realize it's based on population.
Start proving subdivisions in the unincorporated
Well,
area. I mean, it's based on population, so wherever the people choose to move, we have to do that. And there is no law, I even checked state law. The way these two propositions were drawn up, there's nothing in those propositions, and Melanie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because she's in sales tax, there's nothing in it that says that we as a council can come in and override the formula and say, oh, well, we can only go down to 45%, we have to shut it down right there, and y'all can't get another penny. It says it's based off of population in each one of these cities' boundaries or an incorporated area. I understand your concerns. I have the same concerns because I'm the finance director.
Well,
What we have that they don't have is we have all the expenses that are passed down statutorily by the state. We got a courthouse. We got to provide, free room and board for the sheriff, the DAs, the judges. We got to pay expenses for the DAs, the judges, the coroner's office, register of voters. We provide a lot more than municipalities. We have a 3.52 mil property tax that the state put on the books for us, which is constitutional. It doesn't ever go to the vote of the people. The money that generates right now, today, covers all those statutory costs. So as of today, I'm not concerned about it because I have a millage on the books that's covering what the state is saying I have to pay. But we do have the same concerns you have, Mr. Crowe, to where it could get to a point where, let's just say Addis keeps growing and they pick up another 5,000 people and my percentages gets below a 40% or something, then it's starting to get into my money I use for capital outlay, building roads and buying equipment for departments that don't have funding. Yeah, it's a concern.
at this rate of drop in 20 years, it could be 10%,
Yeah, well,
approximately 10%, 10% below what you're at right now.
yeah. Well, I mean,
So,
yeah,
and-
20
and-
years.
And I know
20
it's
years,
not,
yeah,
in 20
yeah.
years, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, in 20 years.
Yeah.
But I know it's not likely for the other areas not to start to grow, but then let's just say somebody else decides to incorporate.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, and then there goes another, another chunk. They're
you're
gonna get
100%
their share.
correct. And we have been, I don't know if Mr. Spielman's still, we've been talking about this for 2 years. And I've been researching it every year, and Melanie's researched it. And again, there's no mechanism I can find in state statute or in this local proposition the way it was voted on by the people.
So this is a state mandated process.
Yeah. Well, if you want to,
We'd have to go probably vote of the people.
yeah, we'd have to bring it back to vote of the people to change any of this. Yeah. See, East Baton Rouge Parish kind of ran into that years and years and years and years ago, and that's why East Baton Rouge Parish is a city parish government now, because it got to where the city grew so big into the unincorporated areas, took all the revenues, all the statutory costs, the parish government said, we don't have the money to pay for this, we're not there right now. But I have done my homework on that, and my main concern was to make sure that those statutory costs that we had on the books, we at least had that millage that was covering those, which is state, that's what they give you that for. It was supposedly to make up for those costs that they put on your backs. What I'm asking you tonight is to adopt this so we can get this rolling. Thank you.
Mr. Scarpino?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I just wanted to ask, the 52% down to 49, what is that actual in money-wise? I mean, we're talking hundreds, thousands, millions, or what?
Well, I mean, below that, you'll see 28,355. I'm saying that's how much we're losing, we've lost.
Okay.
On last year's collection. So if, on last year's collections, we've lost $28,355. And Addis picked up 62, Brewley lost 11, and Port Allen lost 22.
And there's no way to go to these,
Yes, 2019 numbers,
there's no way to go to these,
based off of 2019 sales tax numbers. Okay, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong sheet, I'm sorry, yeah. 34, 25, 10, and 16, 69.
so it'll just, you thinking it's just gonna continue to climb, more than likely?
Until Addis stabilizes.
Okay.
Port Allen's building a big subdivision.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
they
Port
are.
Allen's gonna build a subdivision, so they
Is
could be the
there
next ones.
anything that we provide for those municipalities that comes out of our budget, other than that state money?
The only department right now, we cost share animal control with the municipalities. We cost share Keep West Baton Rouge Beautiful with the municipalities. So those two programs are cost shared right now. The only thing I can tell you right off the top of my head, we don't cost share with them is mosquito control. And that was just a decision we made. If we try to invoice and they push back and say, well, just don't spray us. If you're trying to control mosquitoes in your parish, you kind of got to do that parish-wide. We're looking at the coroner's office possibly that, because we provide coroner services for all the municipalities. That's another area that we possibly could start invoicing the cities for their deaths. I hate going that route, but that's two areas.
Yeah. Do we?
Just one other point, you know, in 2020, we're gonna do a new census, and so
Right.
for 10 years, we've been estimating these things, and so what we're gonna do, we're gonna get a true picture in 2020, so we will zero those
Well,
out,
let's see.
they'll be the same, for 2020, and so.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look.
We lose a lot of money in 20,
Yeah.
because that 2 or 3% we lost over 10 years,
Let's go gain back
straight,
up.
you
Yeah.
can't lose that.
Right.
Yeah, you'll look at LSU's numbers as of 2018, because they're a whole year behind. They're saying the parish population is 26,544, and there's just no way. I'm saying it's 28,813 based off building permits.
Right.
For so many years, they didn't track our information. Some of my biggest arguments I ever had with any other agency was over the census stuff. You just don't win it when you're fighting somebody who's got all the marbles in their bag.
Right. Mr. Kershaw.
I just want to say that I'm not going to get a spreadsheet like this without taking a look at it. So the
If it's
2018
misspent.
versus 2019 numbers, the way I looked at it, the parish went up 531 people. 367 of them are in Addis, so they got 69% of the growth. Brewley's got 3%, Port Allen's got 1%, the parish has got 27%. So I think Philip, in my mind, hit the nail exactly on the head. As if we're trying to protect the parish's percentage, what you see is that these other places are growing, and we're not. When we have a swing at one with a large subdivision, we're whiffing. Okay? So you're going to continue to decrease your sales tax and have less dollars to spend on parish-wide expenses. Remember, you still have a lot of things that we pay for out of here as a whole, but we're divvying up the sales tax on a percentage of the pie basis. So every year when this thing comes out, it seems that our portion shrinks, but it's because you have people that are aggressive in building like Addis. I figure they added 367 people. I think Kurt in his district added one person. I added 366 in my district. So, just want to let you know. So,
Another point is, when the new census is done, we're gonna have to do reapportionment, which is
Right.
gonna change all these district lines, and so, that's gonna be coming, and we're gonna get the Capital Region Planning Commission, they're gonna help us with the census, but we probably don't get those numbers till next year sometime.
Right.
Yeah, and let me just say this, guys, this is
Push the
another little
button, push.
educational point here, because I come from the sales tax department, traveling the country and doing audits and everything. We do it really, we have the model program in West Baton Rouge Parish, because there's other parishes that don't split their sales tax our way, and to do business in their parish is very complicated, because you may have to file a City of Gonzales sales tax and then an Ascension Parish sales tax on top of it. or there may be another little small district in there that you gotta go and add another sale. So you may be filing 3 or 4 sales tax in one parish for one sale transaction you made one time, you know? Whereas over here, you file one return, and you're done. We handle the splitting of the money.
And my final comment, and I'm gonna make a motion that we accept this, but these numbers are probably not right, but this method is probably the best way that we have to track. So I think it's a fair and equitable way. Yeah, are they correct? There's no way to know, and we'll know pretty soon, another year or so, but I think what the method of which we're doing this is fair as it can be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Kershaw, seconded by Mr. Klein Peter. Is there any other questions? Can you come to the mic, please? Yep.
Because it's on video.
If it was live streaming, nobody could see you talking right now.
Okay.
Live streaming.
I understand that the growth of the parish is growing, but I can tell you right now, I know people from Addis, from Brewley, that are so distraught about the traffic in the afternoon. I know nurses that are living in Brewley, living in Addis, that are moving because they cannot get to work on time. That the traffic is so bad in the afternoon, they cannot get off of work, get home to pick up their children, and have any time for 2 hours caught in traffic just to get home. So until we do something about the traffic from Addis to the bridge, and then that's not even mentioning what's coming from Grove State. So you think people are staying? I can tell you a lot of people that are leaving. I mean, elderly people that have their homes, that have had their homes, they're bailing. So I hope that all of this pans out, that we're growing, but we need to have a better road system to grow. And then they're also concerned, what if there's a crisis? You know, evacuation. I mean, it's really a kitchen discussion that they're concerned.
And I wanna just put a little period on what you're saying. Again, we do not control the growth in Addis or Brewley.
Well, I know.
This council cannot tell them what to do.
Oh, well,
So
I understand
they're gonna
that.
grow at whatever rate. Secondly, if you put it in numbers, we got 28,000 in this parish. Roughly 50% of the population lives south of the intercoastal, so that's 14,000. Let's be generous and say 7,000 drive. You got 50,000 cars cross that intercoastal on a daily basis. It's not us causing the problem.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is,
Period.
but what I'm
Period.
saying is that people are
Period.
very concerned.
Period.
This is on the sales tax thing. This is not about the traffic right now.
Right,
So
well,
we
we're
have
also
to move
talking
on.
about how it affects the
Yeah.
parish.
So we have a motion by Mr. Kershaw, seconded by Mr. Klein Peter. Any discussion?
No.
Seeing none, the machine is open to vote.
Thank
Motion
y'all very
passes.
much.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Philip.
Item number 11, communication with council members and/or elected or appointed officials. Any elected or appointed officials in the audience have anything? Any council members? Any council members? Mr. Kershaw.
Real quick, we're gonna attack item number 16 later on in the meeting. That's the consideration of subdivision plats, condemnations, waivers, and matters related thereto. I would like to see us move that up on the agenda, so those people that are here don't have to sit through the bulk of the meeting for them to get to that item. So, Mr. Danny and people that come up here, I'm not saying this meeting, I'm saying
Right.
in future
Future.
meetings.
Like,
I wanna
okay,
move
let me
that
question
up
you.
there.
Would you like to move it in front of your public hearings and your resolutions?
That'd be great.
Okay. That just, we can move it wherever you want. It was formatted like this originally from what I was told, because people that come for the public hearings, they're here for the public hearings and the resolutions and.
Well, but there's public
other
hearings
portion.
on, they'll be able to
There-
speak on
that's
those
right,
too, so.
That's right.
I won't leave that up to the chairman, but I'm just saying, I think
We'll talk
to
about
make
it.
those people
Yeah.
sit here this long is ridiculous.
Well, some people have to be at the top and some at the bottom, no matter which way we shuffle it. Just remember, that's,
Yeah.
you know, no matter which way I do it,
we can
it
put it
just,
in front of- we gotta vote on this, huh?
yeah, yeah.
Good deal. All right, thank you, Mr. Kershaw. Item number 12, cancellation of meetings due to schedule conflicts. Michelle, you wanna take that one?
Yeah, basically, this is, with February 14th, we've got conferences scheduled. April 9th, the parish only works a half a day that day. That's Good, Holy Thursday, day before Good Friday. November 26th and December 24th, those 2 dates are obviously holidays as well.
And we do have to vote on this, so.
Yeah, we do have to vote on this. Normally, we do it individually at different meetings throughout the year, but I just figured it was easier to get it over with ahead of time, and I could publicize it for the public, be easier for them.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Mr. Densto, second by Mr. Kleinpeter. Any discussion on these meetings? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote. Mr. Densto.
Oh, sorry.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 13, public hearing on previously introduced ordinances. A, an ordinance amending chapter 104 zoning to incorporate amended zoning designation map zoning plan under section 104-3, establishment of districts, official zoning map for rezoning request of Frederick McKenzie, file number 2019-25, located at 5951 Rambin Road, Brewley, Louisiana, 70719. Lot SB-1-C-1-B of the original lot SB-1-C-1 of the original Lot 8 Sonji subdivision and the original remaining Lot SB-1 Shealy Babin property located in section 61 T8S R12 East, West Baton Rouge Parish, LA, rezoning from agriculture to RSF3 residential single family. Mr. Durbin.
So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first official meeting of your term. I was not able to make it to your swearing-in ceremonies last week, but it's nice to see some new faces and some new names. And please know that my door is always open for any planning, zoning, public works questions that you may have, condemnation questions, whatever the case may be. This item came before the Planning and Zoning Commission on Tuesday. I was not there. I was running fever that day, so I couldn't make it. But I can read minutes, and the minutes tell me that this was approved 8-0 unanimously, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. I don't think the applicant is here tonight, but I can try to field any questions you may have.
Thank you. So this is a public hearing. Anybody from the public want to be heard on this item? Anybody from the public? All right, I'll close the public hearing and open it up to the council. The wishes of the council. Mr. Kershaw?
Mr. Chairman, this is in my district. It's on Choctaw Road heading west. This is a huge piece of land. They just want to cut out the first 47, almost 48,000 square feet that faces Rambin Road. It still allows them 50-foot access to this back portion, which was some of the comments from the audience the other day at the public hearing. So I don't think it needs any variances or any waivers or anything. It is ready to go, and I make a motion that we accept rezoning from ag to RSF3.
So I have a motion by Mr. Kershaw, seconded by Mr. Crowe. Is there any discussion on this? Any discussion? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes. Thank you. Item B, an ordinance to amend zoning enforcement, section 111-79, non-conforming uses of the West Baton Rouge Parish Code of Ordinance to provide for limited administrative approval of certain non-conforming expansions and reenact chapter 111, administration and enforcement, article 4.
Mr. Chairman, we didn't get to work on this ordinance very much, and so the state that it's in, we just like to pull audit, so if you got to vote it down or whatever, and we'll come back if we decide to do this at a later date.
Thank you.
You know,
So
I don't know if you can get no action on it, or just,
I guess,
we have to vote on it.
I think we have to vote on it. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion of, I guess.
You don't have to vote on it, you can postpone the action, you can just re-advertise and it comes back up.
That doesn't
say we vote.
Yeah, I'd rather just,
I'd rather,
yep.
y'all
Maybe
agree,
just vote
we
on
just
it.
want to go ahead and vote on it and then y'all can go back.
I want it denied.
Thank you.
Sorry, made a motion already.
So I have a motion to deny.
Yes,
by
motion
Mr.
to
Denson,
deny, yes.
Seconded by Mr. Crowe. Is there any discussion about it? Seeing none.
So is it yes is a
A
deny?
yes
Yes
or
is
to
a deny.
Come on, Caleb. Just wanted to make sure.
We like
Seeing
confusion in
none.
the planning and zoning
Yes
office.
is a
You will get
deny.
used to it.
The machine's open to vote. To deny. Thank you. Motion passes.
Or fails.
To deny. Item C, an ordinance amending chapter 104 zoning to incorporate amended zoning designation map zoning plan under section 104-3 establishment of districts official zoning map for rezoning request of Aaron Adair, file number 2019-28, located at 11835 Landry Lane, Port Allen, Louisiana, 70767. Lot 32 in the subdivision of Southwest 4 of Section 18 T6S R11 East, fronting on East Subdivision Road, West Baton Rouge Parish, Louisiana, rezoning from agriculture to RSF 3. Kevin Dale.
Yes, this is out in my area on the north end. I don't live very far from here. I posted the sign on this property. This item came before the Planning and Zoning Commission on Tuesday. It was also recommended for approval unanimously. This lot does front on Landry Lane and Subdivision Road, so we actually posted 2 signs on this one. Very similar request to the one you just heard, different piece of property, obviously, but same request, ag to RSF3. Be happy to answer any questions.
It's a public hearing. Anybody from the public want to be heard on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and open it up to the parish council. I have a motion by Mr. Mazeron to approve, second by Mr. Kleinpeter.
Yes.
Is there any discussion on this one? Any discussion? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes.
And I'm going to ask for your prayers for my dad. He's having bypass surgery tomorrow. So for the next few weeks, I'm going to be in and out taking care of my 74-year-old parents. But you can always reach me by email, cell phone, whatever. I'll try to be in as much as possible.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
Thank you, good luck.
Item 14, consider status report, change order and/or other matters as required on current projects. Jason? Nothing? Item 15, resolutions. A resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in the parish of West Baton Rouge, state of Louisiana, the parish, to renew the levy and collection of a 3 mil and ad valorem tax on all property subject to taxation within the boundaries of the parish for a period of 10 years, beginning with the year 2021 and ending with the year 2030, for the purpose of providing funds to continue the maintenance, operation, and capital expenditures necessary for all the community centers owned and/or leased in the name of West Baton Rouge Parish Council and located within the parish, and further make an application to the State Bond Commission for consent and authorization to hold the aforesaid election, and further providing for other matters in connection therewith. Lou, you gonna take this one?
Jim Ryan was here earlier.
Yeah, but
I don't know
Jim's
if-
not, yeah. he
Maybe these
can't.
other gentlemen don't know Jim Ryan, but he's, his office, gets the tax proposition prepared and gets it approved by the parish council and, submits it to the state to be put on a ballot. And, the property tax has a 10-year limit, and if you don't renew it, it rolls off of the rolls, so you won't be able to collect it. And it rolls off the rolls in 2021 at the end of the year. So you're doing it now. If it fails, you have time to do it another time if you so choose to.
So this is,
And it's just calling an election to.
yeah, it's just calling for an election to bring it to the people.
Yes.
This is a renewal.
This is
Yeah.
a renewal of existing property tax
Right.
for the community
For the
center.
community centers,
Yes.
all 3 of them, right? Four.
Yeah.
4.
And the election's gonna be May
Right.
9th of this year, right?
Yeah,
May 9th for the election, correct? It's in May, yeah. Good deal.
We're gonna do all these at the same.
No, individually.
Okay.
So do I have a motion to approve? I got a motion by Mr. Kleinpeter, second by Mr. Gordon. Are there any questions about this? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote for approval. One more. Ms. Crowe, no?
I'm thinking. I'm slow like that. I got property.
All right. Item Item B, resolution authorizing the parish president to sign intergovernmental service agreement with Town of Brewley and the Town of Addis relating to garbage contract extension. You wanna take it or this is just, so that the municipalities can get the same rate that the people in the parish pay. So just a renewal, right, just a renewal for every year with, Republic. So I have a motion by Mr. Kershaw, seconded by Mr. Garden. There any question on this? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes. And C, a resolution authorizing the parish president to sign contract with Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals Fall WIC program. And this is new, so.
Yeah, this, well, I don't know if some of the new guys may not know, but we took over the health unit as a parish-run facility from a state facility last year. The WIC program is something that it was running through while it was a state. Now, for us to run it through the parish, we have to have the parish president authorized to sign off on the documentation required for the parish to start receiving the actual WIC revenue.
Thank you. So, do I have a motion? I have a motion by Mr. Klein Peter, second by Mr. Dental. Is there any discussion on this for the? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes. All right, Fish. Item 16, consider subdivision plats, condemnations, waivers, and matters related thereto. I'll go ahead and read the first one, Mr. Danny. A ratify condemnation order of derelict structures located at 3734 South River Road, Port Allen, Louisiana, 70767. Mr. Danny.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and
Sorry.
I'd like to say congratulations to all you new guys.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for your service.
Ain't worried about that, Fish.
You weren't successful in moving him up.
Unfortunately, the first condemnation we have is a trailer park on South Riverview. And this is a little bit different than what we normally would be addressing. There's approximately 35 trailers. Not all are livable. Not all are occupied. Most of them are not occupied. So what I'm proposing tonight is that you should have a packet with most of the pictures of what we've taken. What we're proposing is that if you decide to work on cleaning up this trailer park, I would like to invite all of you, especially Mr. Denstall, since it's in your area.
Right, yeah.
And to come with us, maybe Mr. Talbot, our inspector. We will go through and identify one by one and numerically identify them, the ones that need to be condemned, and then address each individual one with the owner. I have contacted the owner, and he realizes that it needs to be cleaned up. He mentioned that he has some people that are interested in buying the property, so this may be his push to get it moving.
That's by the BASF plant, that galvanized plant?
Yes, it's
Yes.
in that area.
Yes.
Yep. And by the way, any of you invited, whenever we decide to do this, if you decide to do this, I'd like to invite all of you, if you had time to come through there with us.
And just as a point of clarification, if y'all decide that we move forward with this, we have money in the budget to do this, but by all means, we're not doing this for this property owner. We're
Right.
gonna get rid of them, and we're gonna put a lien on the property, so he ever decides, if we get it clean, he decides to sell it, and money comes to us.
Right.
It's collected through the sheriff's office and then back to us.
Just a little bit of history also. Last year, we condemned and had taken down 15 structures. Of the 15 structures, the parish only was expensed on 2. So we were able to work with the owners, and the owners recognized they had a problem, and they took them down themselves.
That's good to hear. Mr. Dental.
Mr. Danny, as you stated, this is my district, and I just want to make sure you include me in that inspection.
Yes, sir.
I want to go, for sure.
Will do.
Mr. Crew?
I'm gonna give y'all a history on me here. About 40 years ago, I lived in this trailer park. So, it definitely needs some attention. It was way different back then. It was- But anyway, yeah, 40.
Well, I understood 4.
Not 4.
I thought he said 4 too.
He was part of,
Yeah, I might be, well, it definitely needs some attention. I would definitely like to see us do something with it. And I have family that still lives there, in a different location. There's actually 2 pieces of property there, and I have family that still lives there, that the situation is very different, but. Thank you.
I have a motion by Mr. Denzel, second by Mr. Klein Peter. Is there any questions about this? Any questions? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes. B, ratify condemnation order of derelict structure located at 3820 Cons Road, Port Allen, Louisiana, 70767. Mr. Danny.
the Cons Road property is on the corner, at the end of Cons Road, toward the end. It's right at the corner of a street, now, forgive me, I don't know the name of the street, but there's a trailer park where a number of families live down there, and it's a pretty nice trailer park. I looked at this property and evaluated, and it is a very, very old structure. I tracked down the actual owner or the person in charge in California and spoke to her. And I tried to get someone to take the building down for the wood, and after they looked at it, I had 2 people go out and look at it. After they evaluated what was out there, they turned that down, and they said it had no value. So, here we are, we are addressing this as a condemnation. It's obviously not occupied, and people are using it to store stuff, and you can see that somebody's tractor. She didn't even know who the tractor was. I sent her a picture. She didn't know who owned that. So it's just one of those places that's just not good for our parish. That's about the bottom line of it, you know?
Thank you. So I have a motion by Mr. Kershaw, seconded by Mr. Garden. Is there any question on this one? Any question? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote. Motion passes. And item C, ratify condemnation order of derelict structures located at 959 Solomon Street, Port Allen, Louisiana, 70767. Mr. Danny.
The owner of this property approached the administration and came in and asked us to evaluate his property for condemnation. At first look, I said, why are we doing this? And he says it's unlivable. I hired a state license inspector, and he basically condemned the property. All the electrical, the plumbing, everything was derelict. And when I went in the inside, there's probably a mold growing. There was a hole in the roof. The floors, I mean, it was really, really bad. He has already gotten a contractor to do the demolition. He needs an order from our council to condemn it because there is a mortgage left on the property, and the mortgage company wants a condemnation from our authorities before they will issue the money to build a new house on this property. So that's the status of that. It's kind of a technicality and a business banking thing.
I think that's the son.
I think that's the son.
Probably the most valuable piece.
There's no, if it is on, it's on solar power.
Lord have mercy. All right, so I got a motion by Mr. Garden, seconded by Mr. Kershaw. Any discussion? Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Danny, for what
Thank
y'all
y'all.
doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Now, the fun. Item number 17, appointments. All right, so this can kind of go, we all have to have council representation for all of these boards right here. So if, we have several people that have asked to be on certain boards already, and several boards that are still kind of available. So we do have one reappointment we have to do for the item A, the Capital Region Planning Commission. We do that together. You want to do the two, the four, so say
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, we can do that one.
So for A, I was, been getting a lot of phone calls about this appointments with the, all new council and new boards. And, so for the Capital Region Planning Commission, we need 2 sitting members and 2 alternates. I got asked by Mr. Alan Crowe to be a sitting member for the Capital Region Planning Commission, and Mr. Adley Walker, wanted to take those 2 seats for the,
Just to let you know, all those meetings are in the daytime, and we meet quarterly, and we meet in Baton Rouge mostly. We serve lunch, we do kind of luncheon meeting. The Capital Region Planning Commission is 11 parishes, 33 municipalities, and we talk about planning issues and, the growth and stuff. And then we lead into a meeting right after that, which we call our MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, or the TPC, the Transportation Policy Committee, which is ports of 5 parishes, which all of Ascension and all of East Baton Rouge, part of Livingston, Ifabville, and West Baton Rouge. And those meetings follow that. You're welcome to stay for those. And we talk about transportation issues in those meetings. Right now, we're holding them at the Brack Center on Florida Boulevard, but we will be getting a new location more down toward Millerville, probably by the midsummer. And I'm actually the chairman of that committee, of both of those 2 committees. And so, just to let you know, it's in the day.
right, yep.
You're welcome. We either have a guest speaker there, and we provide lunch and take care of stuff. You see the mayors from Madison, Brewery, Plaquemine, St. Gabriel, a lot, that's the people that attend those meetings from those 11 parishes.
Right. Thank you. So we had those 2 names for the 2 permanent, and then myself and Mr. Klein Peter for the 2 alternates, and, whatever, if they could make it. So, if everybody is all right with that board,
And to reappoint.
and to reappoint President Berthelot,
Yeah. For his term.
for his term for the Capital Region Planning
I'm
Commission.
already on it. I'm actually on the executive board.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
No other nominations?
No other nominations for that one? Well, these can go in by acclamation. B, 2 council representatives for West Baton Rouge Community Advancement Advisory Board. I was you wanna explain that one, Pee Wee, about that one?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
You got that, Philip?
yes.
Commodities, LIHEAP, all those granted programs that we have in the parish, it's mandated by federal law that we have a board. The board they meet once a quarter at lunch, and there's not a whole lot to vote on, because we have a very small commodity budget. It's only like $80,000 a year, but it's required, and there's certain things in the meeting we're required to do. Got to adopt the budget, they got to address the minutes and all that kind of stuff. So it meets back in the same building as the sales tax office is where community action is. And again, it's a board that has to meet quarterly to meet our goals by federal government. So I appreciate if anybody be willing to sit on.
Yeah. Mr. Gary Joseph and Mr. Kenny Garden for that one. So I have those 2 names. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Those 2, Mr. Kenneth Garden and Mr. Gary Joseph, are going by acclamation. C, appointment of council representative to West Baton Rouge Council on Aging Board. Mr. Mooney?
Mr. Badger?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other nominations for the Council on Aging? Any other ones? None? Mooney going, Mr. Badgeron will go in by acclamation to the Council on Aging Board. D, appoint council representative to Keep West Baton Rouge Beautiful Board. Anybody? John Peter?
You get lunch with that one too?
Yeah, yeah.
If nobody
Mr.
else
Clapper.
wants it, if nobody else wants it, I guess I'm forced to, huh?
I mean, I'll do it if you want, don't matter. Mr. Klein Peter goes on acclamation. Thank you.
Only we think you have to work with the crew.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, appoint council representative to West Baton Rouge Library Board. Currently Councilman Chris Fish Kershaw, but
And I've already talked to Mr. Carey.
I'll go ahead and take it. I heard you done such a good job, Fish, that you probably should stay on that, but I'll take it.
Well, I just want to let you know, they don't feed you at that.
That's what I was looking for, a lunch. Looking for a lunch.
that'll work. So Mr. Kerry Denster will go on acclamation to the West Baton Rouge Library Board. F, appoint council representative to West Baton Rouge Museum Board.
Since I'm getting old, I'm the oldest one here, I think I should go on the museum board,
That'll work.
since I'm a relic, and they might be able to show me all.
So Mr. Kershaw will go in by acclamation to the West Baton Rouge Museum Board. And G, appoint council representative to West Baton Rouge Convention and Visitors Bureau Board. Anybody for that one? You want it, Mr. Garrett Joseph? Mr. Garrett Joseph, any other nominations for that one? Mr. Garrett Joseph will go in by acclamation toward the Convention and Visitors Bureau Board. Thank you. That was smooth.
Wait, Kurt. The,
Alternate.
but Pee Wee, Mr. Chairman, didn't Mr. Berthelot say you needed 2 people for the West Baton Rouge?
Transportation Authority.
Oh, yeah.
Which is October
You can put my name on that, for sure. Yeah, I was gonna email you about that.
You get fed on that one? You get fed on that one?
No, you don't get paid on that.
Knowledge.
I would be
But it's not a long meeting, it's usually 5 to 10 minutes or more.
Not a long meeting, I'm
I'll send it
interested
to
in
him.
that one too.
We have no duty over here. Sometimes we may have to go to DOT headquarters if the secretary can't make it over here, but
Oh, definitely, if,
the board's made up of, myself, Jason, 2 council members. That way we got a quorum, and then, you know, by law, we had to put the, secretary of DOTD on his designee. And so, Sean served on it a while, and then he put, a couple people, now Eric Calabola, the guy on it.
yeah, I was gonna get with you about that after. I definitely would like to.
I was thinking,
I'll email him your names.
That'll work.
you gotta do a motion on it.
No.
No.
Item 18, correspondence report. Michelle?
Our correspondence, the next planning and zoning meeting has been canceled due to a clear agenda. You have in your packets a Keep West Baton Rouge Beautiful update. It's just a recap that by our ordinances, they are required to give us, yearly. And also, reminder for any of you guys going to the police jury conference, you have packets in front of you in the yellow folders. If you have any questions or need to make any changes or anything, just let me know.
I didn't do that.
You and I come to the conference, that's fine.
Michelle, don't get asked about, you know, so we can get it down. Sure.
I'll get with you on that, yeah. Well, I'll check. If any of you are interested, and I'm sure you probably all are, who was it having the,
It's Republic.
Republic, yeah.
A waste provider.
Yeah.
This is something we do every year. They'll take us to dinner and.
This is at the conference.
It's just,
They'll take y'all to dinner one night at the conference.
Okay.
And I'm assuming all of y'all are probably interested in attending.
Yeah.
right?
Depends on where we're going.
You're not going, you're not even going to the conference.
Wanna do
You-
it?
Night for the weekends.
He was just gonna go up there
Not
for
even
that.
going to the conference, yeah. Okay.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Kershaw. Thank y'all. Yeah.
Good job.